Australia, which is a remarkable example. And they enacted universal voting in 1924. The turnout before that, in elections before that, hovered around 60%, similar in some ways to the United States. And since then, in every single election since 1924, they have had turnout of 90%. Okay. The system is very, very popular. The civic culture is kind of celebratory in a really interesting way. But most importantly, that they do have 90% turnout. They have a very light touch enforcement system there, and different countries have different enforcement systems. And as Katie said, some countries don't enforce it at all, but it still raises turnout. So coming back to, I would say the major benefits that I would see, and I think we have seen it in many places, of universal voting are, number one, more than any other reform, it immediately and dramatically increases turnout. Again, by depending on depending on the way it's implemented.
Part of our electoral process and part of being a free people is the right not to engage. We have the freedom of speech. We also have the freedom not to speak. And there are those who, for one reason or another, decide not to engage in the electoral process as their form of protest against that process.
Holding fewer elections can reduce costs and administrative burdens for election officials. This can especially be true in jurisdictions where municipalities are responsible for funding their standalone elections. As for off-cycle elections, these may allow voters to focus on more local issues. So consolidating state, federal, and local elections can draw attention to the larger state or federal issues, rather than allowing voters to focus on some of their local issues that may be on the ballot.
Chicago, with Illinois having more units of government than any other state, we're already experiencing 4-page long ballots in our even-year elections, primary elections. So adding Chicago's elections to that would increase the amount of time it takes a voter at the polls. It would increase the length of lines because it takes each voter more time. So, there are a lot of considerations about putting the two elections together all in one year. Another issue is that we have a pretty robust system of both advisory and binding referendum questions in Chicago, where we have referendum on the ballot in both the even years and odd years. There's a statutory limit of 3 for every unit of government. So we would be basically cutting in half the ability for citizens to put those questions on the ballot.